New event troops in that of the Giant Thrower, Ram Rider, Firecracker, Party Wizard, and Debt Collector have been added to Clash of Clans, so let's break them all down and explain how to use them, starting with my favorite, the Giant Thrower. No, not that one. The real Giant Thrower. Its special ability is to throw the football, and after hitting the target, will bounce twice, and on each of these, deals 1,800 damage. As an added benefit, any walls that it bounces through will also instantly be destroyed. Whilst this ability can be comparable to the Super Bowler, it is only a one-time use case, and then the troop transforms into a regular giant. Comparing it to the Super Bowler, it is half of the housing space. It does have more hit points, but deals less damage. However, that's once it starts attacking like a giant. It's not factoring in the initial damage from the throw-in special ability. It has a 7-tile range, meaning it can reach defenses in the second layer and generally has enough hit points to absorb damage and actually get the ability off. However, it does not target defenses. The special ability can be bounced through higher HP buildings 2 defenses behind. You can practically reach the core from the outside of a base. And the best part is that due to the bounce, you can outrange a clan castle to take it out without dealing with the troops inside. You may want to combine these with rage spells, because since you get a 180% increase, the 1,800 damage from the throw-in turns into 5,040. This means even the strongest defenses around the base, you will be wiping out with just 2 of these under a rage. Whilst it is fun to use the Giant Thrower to snipe defenses, you can also use it to replace super wall breakers. Since it bounces 3 times, you can break open multiple layers of walls. A super wall breaker is 8 housing space, so if you had planned to get through a couple of layers and use 2 of them, well then you might as well go with the Giant Thrower in order to achieve that and have a giant to help with your regular army, because you can use this with any ground smash attack. Once you've set your funnel, whether that be with a Warden Walk or an RC Dive, if you're then breaking the first couple of layers to get your ground troops through, just literally place a Giant Thrower and you've got access into the base. Obviously, you've got to make sure you've got your funnel set up so that your Giant Thrower doesn't actually take out the buildings on the walls it's opening, and then your troops won't enter there. But as long as that's the case, you then have the giant, and again, it has 4,000 hit points, so it can absorb a lot of damage and help supplement your smash attack. Moving to another wall-breaking troop, the Ram Rider. This will target the closest defense and break through the wall en route. Then when it gets to the defense, it will slow it down with a frost effect. Following this, it turns into a ranged hog rider. It can jump over walls. It's still defense targeting. It's just that it attacks them from a little bit of a distance. However, whilst the Giant Thrower is used more as a supportive troop to snipe defenses or open up the walls, the Ram Rider does tend to be used in more mass Ram Rider attacks. The main reason for this is once you have set up the defensive pathing, the Ram Riders are almost a blend of the Root Rider and the Valkyrie together. It doesn't have as many hit points as the Root Rider. Yes, it's nigh on half the housing space, but what that means is it's not as forgiving, so you do have to be careful with healing spells, but it does have the benefit of increased DPS. Whilst the Root Rider only has 115 damage per second, their job is to open up the walls and tank for the Valkyries, who then provide the damage. Housing space wise, these would work out about the same. A Valkyrie at 8 housing space is 238 DPS. The Ram Rider at 12 housing space is 350. So this means replacing the Root Riders and the Valkyries with Ram Riders means you lower your overall hit points a little bit, but you increase the DPS of your army. You don't want to send them all in at once though. Send most of them, but try to save on to a couple so that you can stagger them in and continue to take advantage of the frost effect. As long as you've set up the funnel with your opener and you use your healing spells effectively, then you should be good for some nice 3 stars. The Firecracker is a ranged troop which deals splash damage similar to that of a scatter shot. It can splash to buildings that have a 2-tile gap in between them. However, much like the scatter shot, the damage is lowered quite significantly by the time it splashes to those other buildings. I wouldn't really be relying on the splash damage taking out the building behind. You can get clever and use multiple firecrackers to splash through, take out a defense, but that's realistically not going to happen. The Firecracker is an interesting one because it's kind of an in-between the Super Archer and Super Wizard. It doesn't quite have the range of a Super Archer or the DPS of the Wizard, but you kind of take both of those elements. Due to also having the Ram Rider and the Giant Thrower unlocked for the rest of the month during this temporary troop batch though, I wouldn't really recommend using the Firecracker. You have to use them either to snipe a building or behind a tank, whether that's the Root Rider or giants at lower level, and I feel the other 2 troops are just stronger. The Party Wizard, we'll keep this one brief. It is a variation of the regular wizard. It has faster movement speed, lower hit points, but higher DPS. In most situations, if you're using the regular wizard, just take the Party Wizard because it has the same housing space. Generally, when you're using the wizard, you have a tank out in front, so the lower hit points is not an issue, and if you're using them for cleanup, defenses are removed anyway, so you're just taking out non-defensive buildings, then the faster movement speed is also nice. Finally, the Debt Collector is a special type of goblin. Whilst the hit points is slightly lower than the Sneaky Goblin, and the damage per second is as well, this deals 4 times damage to resources, so the hit points and damage are only slightly less than the Sneaky Goblin, but the reason you'd use the Debt Collector is you get 100% extra loot. So if you attack a gold mine that has 50,000 gold in it, well then if you take it out with the Debt Collector, you get 100,000. So whilst these can go down very quickly because they don't have the invincibility that the Sneaky Goblins use, you get more loot. So if there is mines and pumps on the outside, you can snipe those with the Debt Collectors and get extra loot. Even if you don't take all of the loot, you might still end up getting more due to the loot you did get being doubled. Obviously, you can try and get clever and use the Royal Champion, who's defense targeting, to take out defenses in an area. Maybe use 1 super wall breaker to then access storages so that you can take that loot. But if loot is the only thing you care about, you can get more loot with the Debt Collectors. They're just a lot more trickier to use, and you need to be a bit more strategic when you do use them. Either way, with these troops, you can have some fun sniping off buildings with the Giant Thrower, 3-starring with the Ram Rider, or getting loot with the Debt Collector. I hope this video has helped you, and YouTube has a recommended video of mine for you on your screen. Enjoy the rest of your day.